Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Star Wars Wednesday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with Star Wars The Black Series Shadows of the Empire Rendar. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And here on the top, we've got a couple of pieces of tape, the pig hooky thing, and nothing else. On the front, Star Wars The Black Series, nice big window showcasing the majority of the figure and his accessory. It goes around to the side, let some white light in from the side. Right here it says O2-Rendar because he's number 2 in Star Wars Shadow of the Empire subline. Warning, don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. Ages 4 and up. There is the assortment numbers if you need that kind of thing. Hasbro print on the bottom. Small print, fine print, legalese print. Made in China print. Symbols I'm not going to learn. And a barcode. On this side, the stripe on the front comes around to the side here. Continues onward at an angle and then around the back as well. Star Wars The Black Series there at the very bottom. Nothing up on the top. On the other side, we've got nice artwork there of Rendar himself. There's the Outrider. At least I'm pretty sure that's the name of his ship. And then Rendar says at the bottom. On the back, we've got that same artwork of Dash right here. Star Wars The Black Series Rendar. Pilot and mercenary Rendar flew a snowspeeder during the Battle of Hoth. And Princess Leia later hired him to protect Luke Skywalker from the Dark Prince Zizor, ruthless bounty hunters. And I probably said that wrong. It should be Prince Zizor's ruthless bounty hunters. But anyway, you guys are used to it here on Digital Caveman Presents, I'm guessing. So here it is again in some other languages that I don't read. O2, Star Wars Shadow of the Empire. Attention, especially don't stick things in your French pie hole. Warning, attention, Octoon, don't stick things in any other language pie hole that do not belong there. Don't give it to babies. Includes figure and accessory. There is again in some bunch of other languages. Small, fine, legalese print, made in China print, Disney print, Hasbro print. And that, my friends, is a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessory. And here they are. Handy dandy tweezers. Take a look at his accessory, which looks like a Blastech DL-44, just like Han Solo uses. And in fact, I think we just looked at this gun not long ago on that new A New Hope Han Solo. I do think the color's a little bit different. No dry brushing or extra paint parts on it, but it does have nice molded details in it, and it does look pretty close to the Prof, at least what I've seen of it. So, very nice in my opinion. Now let's take a look at the figure himself. And I'll have to say, they did a good job on the sculpt here. I mean, it doesn't look like Han Solo. He doesn't really look... I always called Rendar like the bargain basement Han Solo, or the knockoff Han Solo. You know, the discount store Han Solo. But this figure actually gives him a different look, so that he doesn't really look like that. Even though the character is a stand-in kind of for Han Solo while he's in frozen in carbonite. during Empire Strikes Back, at least during, you know, the EU stuff. Shadows of the Empire, unfortunately, is no longer canon. I wish that it was, because it's one of the best novels I ever read, and I actually read it several times. That's how much I liked it, and I can't say that for a lot of the now EU Star Wars books. But I do say he's got nice deco there on the face. It's nice and crisp. Inkjet, I'm sure. A little bit of color for the lips. Some eyebrows. Printed eyes. And then maybe his sideburns are a regular paint app. And then the hair is a separate piece, a softer piece as well. Glued onto the head, it looks like. And there's nice molded details in there. And I don't think there's a wash in it, so there is that. He's got these armor pieces which look a little battered. You can see, so they're well used. Got some paint on it right there, it looks like. Some paint on this side too. And again, that battered detail goes around the back as well. Then he has like a quilted section of his suit and then like regular parts of his suit. So I don't know how much of this they're actually going to be able to reuse for anything, if at all. Maybe the arms, but they may be reused as it is. I don't know. But the shoulder pads are an overlay, but they are glued in place. So there is that. And he's got some paint apps there for buckles. There's his holster. Paint apps here on the quilted parts of his suit, and that's on the back as well. And boots molded in black plastic. All this is molded in the, you know, the majority of it's molded in the color it's supposed to be. Not a lot of paint apps going on this figure, but you know, it makes sense that they have what they have on here and not much more. The figure looks pretty darn good in my opinion, and you know, I can see not wanting to put a lot of paint apps on this because this is probably not something they're going to be able to reuse much. So let's talk about his articulation. He can look up that far, which isn't much. He can look down that far, which is okay. He's got tons of chicken neck. He's got tons of waggle. He can do the full Exorcist. Now he does have, I think, there is a butterfly joint in there. However, because of these pads, I don't think it really matters. It doesn't really go back. Goes forward just a little bit. These pieces right here, I think, are on the, you know, the strap with, and the arm pins through it, so that it moves with the arm. It doesn't do it easily, so it's pretty tight. And then look at that, I got it all out of whack. So just something to be aware of there, my friends. It's still out of whack. Hang on, I'll have to take it off screen and fix it. Alright, so just be aware of that. That's an issue. Or it can be an issue. So got it all back on there fixed. So at the shoulder, he can also raise his arm up approximately 90 degrees. Single hinge and swivel at the elbow. Swivels around 360 degrees. And it gives you way better than 90 degree bend there. So that's really, really good. 360 degrees of rotation there. And it's on that new half dumbbell and with the ball at the end and the hand pegs on it. I like to call it the Indiana Jones Adventure Series wrist, but it's not quite that. So it wiggles all around. Same on this side. Goes all the way around. Cut here where the chest and the abdomen piece meets. Gives him plenty of hula. 360 degrees of rotation. He can lean left and right. He leans back that far. So that's actually not bad for Star Wars. Crunches forward just slightly. At the hips, the belt is loose, so it gets up out of the way. He gives you that much of the splits. he can... Whew, he wants to be a dancer. Quit. So, he kicks up about that far with just a little bit of outswing, just because of the way he's molded, but, you know, it will go forward, or at least out, maybe a little bit higher, if you swing it out some more. And then back, maybe a step and a half of his own feet. Nothing in the thigh. The hip is on a ball joint, so you get a little bit of rotation there, but not very much at all. Single hinge and swivel at the knee. Swivels 360 degrees. Gives you approximately a 90-degree bend. And then there is a boot cut that swivels around 360 degrees as well. At the ankle. Gives you that much tilt down. And I did heat this guy up a little bit. Tilts up that far, which isn't much. And then he does have a pin for rocker. So, really very good. Now, as far as his accessory storage, you can put it in one of two places. Well, three places, I guess. You can slide it in his holster. He can hold his left hand or his right hand, whichever. So, there's three options for his sidearm. And there you go, my friends. That does it for a look at the figure and his accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have Star Wars The Black Series, Shadows of the Empire Rendar, with Star Wars The Black Series, Shadows of the Empire Prince Xizor, and Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition, Princess Leia Organa in Bush disguise. Or Bush disguise. Whichever you prefer, I suppose. For our last set of comparisons, here we have Star Wars The Black Series, Shadows of the Empire Rendar, with from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee, from the G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander, from Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper, and for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on Star Wars The Black Series, Shadows of the Empire Rendar, I have to say, I think this figure turned out better than I thought. You know, my thought of Rendar, he was always just a fill-in character for Han Solo, at least, you know, in Shadows of the Empire. In the novelization. I haven't played the game yet, although I did recently pick it up. But in the novel, I always felt he was just kind of a stand-in for Han Solo, while Han Solo was frozen in carbonite. A bargain basement Han Solo, if you will. Great value Han Solo. But this figure really changed my mind on that. I think the head sculpt on it is really, really good. I think they did a good, realistic take on his suit, uniform, costume. Well, it's not really costume, but anyway, what he wears. I think they did a really good take on that without going overboard on it, like, say, the Shadows of the Empire Power of the Force 2 Rendar. However, you know, I almost find myself upset and maybe just nostalgic a little bit for that. I want to believe it was still a Kenner figure in those days. That, you know, he came with a backpack that had a rifle on, like a mechanical arm or something. And Yeah, it was goofy and neat. You know, Power of the Force 2 was kind of known for that kind of additional accessory kind of stuff. I never really thought of Dash Rendar as using Blastech DL44 like Han Solo. Mainly because of that Kenner figure. Or that Power of the Force 2 figure. We'll just say that to be on the safe side, I guess. Power of the Force 2, Shadows of the Empire figure. You know, his pistol was different. I'm wondering if with Dash and Prince Xizor that, you know, that's going to be it for Shadows of the Empire. Just these two, the main characters, I guess, out of it. But if I had to guess, if they were going to do a third figure in this line, it would be Prince Xizor's android assassin Jury. That would be my next guess. At least I think she was in Shadows of the Empire. I'm pretty sure. If not, well, I'm sure someone in the comments might let me know. But you know, and then if they were to go on to a fourth figure, and I'm not counting those 2-packs, or that 2-pack, with Luke in the red Imperial Guard uniform, and Leia as Bush again. I'm not really counting that, although I know that is part of it. But I would have liked to have seen that 2-pack been Luke and Lando in those red uniforms rather than Luke in a reissue of Leia as Bush. Although, again, it makes sense, you know, if they're wanting to get that back out there again. But it wasn't that long ago. I do believe that was available in the Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary line. And I could be wrong. If I am, please let me know in the comments. But, you know, I really, you know, if they're gonna keep doing Leia as Bush, let's get a new mold. But, you know, doing Luke and Lando in those red uniforms, to me is a no-brainer, because Lando's never gotten that figure before, even though he should have, because he and Luke both dressed up in those uniforms on Coruscant. And so, but if I had to, you know, Dash Rendar had a droid that accompanied him a lot too. At least on his ship, the Outrider. Yeah, the Outrider. So, and I don't remember that droid's name. But you know, if I had to say a fourth single carded figure in the line, I would go with that one. Then beyond that, I don't know, maybe if they do well enough, we can get a vehicle pack with like one of the swoop gang dudes on his swoop bike. That might be a thing as well, I don't know. But well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you. But only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both. That's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.